days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by August 22nd, 2017.
The following program is a paid presentation. The views and or opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of KWAM. Welcome to the Variety Hour, where local leaders talk Memphis.
Listen to you move your mouth. I bet you come from way down south. Now don't tell me, let me guess, you're from the town that I love best. Talk Memphis, I wish you would. Talk Memphis, you sound so good. Talk Memphis, high on the bluff. I swear I can't get enough. Listening to you talk that stuff. Talk Memphis, oh yeah. Talk Memphis.
This is the Memphis Real Estate Hour with your host, Dean Harris, on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. I am your host, Dean Harris. I'm with CrestCore Realty over on Summer Avenue. Good morning to you. Thank you for tuning in to the new voice, FM 107.9. If you're logging on to the interwebs, www.kwam990.com, you can catch us there. And then, of course, we're on Facebook Live. We've been doing this the last few months, and we've really been getting a great reception from it, so we're excited to continue on the Facebook Live. You guys can watch us and see how pretty everybody is in the studio this morning. So, guys, the Memphis Real Estate Hour concentrates on investing in Memphis real estate. We also focus a little bit on our residential real estate market as well. That's ever-changing. The topic of low inventory is constant, and we're still there. So we'll hit both topics. We talk about investing. We talk about residential. I also tell you every single show that I am an investor. If you have that old home that you need to sell quickly, or if you know someone that has that home they need to sell quickly, give me a call or text. I'm happy to make them a cash offer today. My phone number is 901-619-6170. I don't care what shape it's in, burnout, no drywall, no nothing, doesn't matter. Just shoot me the address, and I'll be happy to get in touch with you on it. We are on Facebook Live. It's something we're very proud of, so be sure to tune in there. If you're not today would be the day. We're going to give away a free Visa gift card for $100 today. We're going to ask a trivia question here in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So if you'll pay attention here for the first segment of the show, we're going to give away that free gift card to the first person that answers it correctly on the Facebook Live feed. So pay attention for that, and it'll be coming up here in the next few minutes. Today's show, I'm going to have the investment of the week, and we've got Will Griffin from Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Maschmeyer in the studio this morning. We're going to talk about tax sales and land bank sales. Some of you guys probably heard David Lenore, the Shelby County trustee, on about a month ago, and we talked about tax sales and land bank sales. So we're gonna piggyback on that and dive into it a little further today. So I'm excited to have Will in the studio, and of course we've got Dan Butler with CrestCore. He is constantly giving us great information and contributing to the show. So we're happy that he is with us as well. So grab your pens. I'm going to give you some partially free money. This is not quite as free as our gift card we're going to give out, but it's close to it. Here's some investment properties for you guys that we've got currently for sale. Let's see, 3000 block of Voltaire Avenue. This is in 38128. That's Raleigh. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. It's listed at $46,900. This is a big home. It's almost 1,600 square feet. This is an $850 rental. So if you guys will give me a call on that one if you got some interest in it. 3792 Voltaire Avenue up in Raleigh, 38128. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $46,900, and it's an $850 rental. Number 2 here, I've got 5136 Rolling Fields Drive. That's in Bartlett, 38134. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. This is listed for $89,900, but it's about $1,000 rental. This area gets a little bit higher rental rate. So give me a call on this one. Great shape home. Nothing but maybe a few cosmetic touch-ups that need to be done to it. So 5,000 block, Rolling Fields, and 38134. 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. This is a $1,000 rental for $89,900. All right, last one here, 2964 Clearbrook. This is in 118, my favorite zip code to have rentals in. 3-bedroom, 2-bath over there on Clearbrook, listed for $52,000. This is also an $850 rental, I should say, because it has that carport. So 3 great homes today. 3792 Voltaire, 46.9, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That's an $800 rental. 5136 Rolling Fields Drive, 89.9. That's a $1,000 rental with 3 bedrooms and 1.5 baths. And then we've got 2964 Clearbrook in 38118. Great property there. It's $52,000 with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. This is an $850 rental as well. So those are 3 good properties. And guys, if you're, I get the question sometimes during the week about prior investments of the week. The show is recorded and saved on our Facebook Live page. So if you've got any questions or you want to reference a prior show, please feel free to go back on the Facebook page and you can check that out. We're going to take a real quick break, and we're going to come back with Will Griffin. We're going to talk about tax sales, land bank sales. We're going to get into it with Dan, see if he can shake us up a little bit with some of his questions. The question that our trivia question here stumped me this morning, so stay tuned. Guys, you listen to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on 107.9 The New Voice.
KWAM, now on FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Proxbox is a communication and collaboration application for real estate agents and is revolutionizing the market. Proxbox's downloadable app allows buyers to view pertinent information about the house that is provided by the agent and the seller. The app provides pictures so the buyer can view when they get home and also make an offer on the house. More information and quicker service means more deals for the agent. Want to see how it works? Visit proxbox.me.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Maschmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Mostly cloudy and mild with just a slight chance for showers this morning. Winds will continue from the northeast and high temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Cloudy, upper 60s overnight. We're back into the mid-80s under the clouds for Wednesday and Thursday. Smith Imports has more than 125 pre-owned Mercedes, all with remaining factory warranty. Sales, service, great financing rates, low prices, high quality since 1985. Visit smithimports.com. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers. On The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Now you can listen And watch too. Go to our website to listen online and see our studio cam, kwamthevoice.com.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. I'm your host, Dean Harris. I'm in the studio with Will Griffin, with Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Maschmeyer. I've also got Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty. We're going to talk about tax sales and land bank sales today. We had David Lenore in, the Shelby County trustee, about a month ago, 5 weeks ago, and we really hit on tax sales and got into his line of work and what he's trying to do with these tax sales. So we've got Will in today. Will is our closing attorney, preferred closing attorney that we use at CrestCore. We try to partner up, as you guys have heard me say before, partner up with vendors across the city who are not only trustworthy but pay us some good attention and make sure that all of our clients are taken care of. So we're happy to have Will in. Will, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. You remembered me.
Yeah, I did remember you this morning down there at the end.
That's right.
Okay, so let's talk tax sales. Will, what is, for those who didn't hear David on, what's a tax sale?
So a tax sale basically is a process at which the governmental authority is trying to recoup their property taxes. Anyone who owns property knows that they have to pay property taxes. And if you fail to pay your property taxes, the sovereign government can take your property. Mm-hmm. So there's a statute that follows all of that in terms of what they can charge, how they determine value. But if you ultimately don't pay, there's a process of which they can take that property back. It's kind of similar to a foreclosure that a bank may take on a piece of property when their mortgage is not paid.
Dan, have you in the past you've bought some tax sale properties, haven't you?
Yeah, that's actually how Douglas and I got started together when we partnered up. Mm-hmm. Was tax sales back in 2006.
You started purchasing this way?
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of insight on kind of the process. Like when you guys went through that, how did you get started in that, and then what were some of the steps you took to get?
Well, you have to have cash available. You have to be able to pay. I think, what's the statute now, Will? Do you know, is it 24 hours? Or does it say in there, or maybe the time of the sale?
And a lot of places have gone to time of.
Yeah.
Well, I know that basically, they publish the tax sale, and they say if you're interested in these properties, you come down.
That's right.
And now they've done it a little bit differently.
Online.
Now they do it online. You used to have to go down to the courthouse. Or the
That's how we started. Yeah.
And then they go through the process, and it's kind of like a bidding process. I mean, you could look at it kind of like eBay. So that's when I think you have to have. Well, but then maybe I guess the question would be is because procedurally, what you're trying to say is that. When do you have to physically pay that amount?
Right, that's
I mean, I would say be prepared when you go down there. But it may be a day or two after.
Yeah, I think you got a day or so after that, but
it's pretty quick.
You're locked in. Yeah, you're responsible.
The courthouse. You buy stuff at the courthouse, you got to have it on hand.
Yeah, that's changed too, but that's because of the investor world.
Yeah.
But
the tax, and you mentioned the online system. David Lenore even mentioned that as well. Yeah. Doing this online has opened it up to
create a frenzy.
Oh, create a frenzy for it now.
It's worldwide.
It's worldwide. Yeah. Everybody can log on and find out, when it's happening and what's going on. And so you purchase a tax sale home.
There's nothing to say you can't, but as Will probably can help us explain what the redemption period is. Like, there's a chance you could not end up with a house. Mm-hmm. So you got to really be careful with how much you're going to spend, being methodical about it. And they just changed the redemption statutes, right? Because used to it, when I started in 2006, you had a full year.
That's correct.
You could not touch. I mean, you could not fully say this is my house for a full year. You actually have the deed, but they could come back and get it from you. But I think it's changed now. I don't know what's.
Yeah, it has changed quite a bit. And I know that David was here and I listened to a little bit when he was discussing all these tax sales. And I could be corrected if I'm wrong, but I think that a lot of this statute was changed, driven specifically for Shelby County, because we have quite a few tax sale properties, and I think David Lenore, in discussion with the legislature, was trying to find ways to kind of streamline that or make it more attractive, whether by doing online, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but the rule before was that once you paid the money for the property, that the previous owner could redeem that property up to 1 year. And then but that's changed, and then in this there's a new statute that has a lot of different provisions, and so it's not just 1 year. It could be 30 days, or it could be 90 days, and that type of thing.
From what I understood from what David was kind of relaying, if the farther back the taxes go, the shorter the redemption period.
That's right.
That's exactly
They were tired of fooling with guys that hadn't, or gals that hadn't paid taxes in 5 years, and then they got a whole nother year they got to wait. The way he explained it was, if they were a certain amount of years, the further out, the shorter redemption period, and if it was just early, then they might still have that year. But
because a lot of people play that game where they just pay that third-year taxes to get it out of kind of their window.
That's right.
And then they were back in the tax sale, the next tax sale,
So the statute basically says if it's less than 5 years, so if you're behind less than 5 years, still 1 year. Okay, but if you're over 5 years, then that redemption period shortens to 180 days.
So that's
So that's 6 months. And then if you're over 8 years behind in taxes, that redemption period is shortened to 90 days.
Do you want that property, though, Dan? You want an 8-year vacant house?
Well, normally it's not 8 years vacant, though. I mean, that's just somebody that's probably, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that in 8 years, there's probably just interest left over from the 8th year and interest left over from the 7th year that they just never finalized they paid majority of it or part of that 8th and 7th, you know what I mean? But they've still had the house, still, rented it and did different.
All right, let me ask you this. So if let's say I pay $10,000 for a house and it's redeemed.
Okay.
Okay. For one thing, explain to that. Do I get any return on my money? And then what's kind of the next step if it's redeemed?
It used to be 10%, and now it's changed to 12%. And there's something else that Will and I were talking about earlier that was very frustrating early on, or 10 years ago, where, what is it called, with
confirming the sale.
Confirming the sale, that could take up to 2 months, depending on how backlogged the county was. And so if somebody redeemed it in the 3rd month, then you wouldn't make any interest. But now it's the date of the sale. I think they changed that statute. So day one, you start earning interest up to 12%.
Up to 12%. All right.
Annual.
So if it's returned, the return is 12% if it's been redeemed.
Yep.
Okay.
So I guess to kind of clarify, the old statute said 10%, and it was computed from the date of the order of the previous redemption. So I think that's what I call like the confirmation sale.
Yeah.
So within the bureaucracy, if there's a backlog and they haven't confirmed the sale, then you're not earning your interest. But the statute now has been changed to 12%, and it specifically states that it shall begin to accrue on the date that the purchaser pays for the purchase price. So if you come to the courthouse steps or online and you pay, whether it's a day after, you are starting to earn a 12% interest rate on your money. And that's, of course, if you don't get the property. If the person doesn't redeem, then you get it. You don't get 12% and the property.
You just get the property.
You get the property. But if that person comes back and says, okay, I've got my act together, I'm ready to pay my money, well, then they've got to pay that 12% to you, which is kind of, I guess, part of the incentive
to
do that.
Yeah.
So you could lose properties all day long, but you're earning 12%.
Almost gives you some motivation to go down there and just bid on stuff.
I take that all day long.
Well, I thought about that as a good retirement strategy. Just buy the whole tax sale and at 12%
just take
interest,
your 12%,
right?
Why not? I mean,
then
they're there.
If you have the cash like Dan, because he's got plenty of it.
So, Mr. Lawyer Friend,
You're right.
For our listeners, where would they find like that redemption stuff? Anything about the tax sale? Can you go online and find that so that
I think you can definitely Google that. If you're really just interested in Tennessee tax sales, the statute site is TCA, which means Tennessee Code Annotated 67-5-2701. And I think you can even Google TCA 67-5-2701, and it will come up. Yeah.
That's awesome. Just because I think for a lot of our listeners, they love to read that stuff and really understand it.
Yeah, before they go do it.
Yeah, I'm more of a go do it and then figure it out later as it comes.
What's the saying? You ask for forgiveness, or better to ask for forgiveness than permission?
Yeah, that's
live
my
by
motto.
that.
Yeah.
The downside about statutes, though, is they're not easy reads. Sometimes even I have to read something several times to understand what it's actually saying. But the way they've laid this out is pretty good. I didn't also touch on that there are some circumstances where the redemption period is only 30 days. but it has a lot of caveats on that.
So there's some different circumstances on the time frame of redemption is what you're saying. And there's different, I guess, rules and guidelines depending on how far out it is. All right, let me ask y'all this for the listeners. We hear tax sale and we hear land bank sale. What's the difference? What are the two differences between, like, hey, I bought because I had a guy, a client the other day say, hey, I bought a land bank sale, and I hadn't heard. I mean, I know what they are, but I haven't heard a client come to me and say the different. Tell our listeners what the difference is.
I'll address that because I know that Dan's bought some at the land bank, and I'll let him kind of hit on the what I call the procedural part on the front end. But basically, the process is still the same. The county puts the property up for sale and allows someone to put down their money and to earn that 12%. If for some reason one of these properties comes up for sale and nobody puts a bid on it, well, the county takes it back into their own portfolio, into their possession. It's no different than when a bank takes it back in foreclosure. I mean, we all have the right to buy it at the foreclosure courthouse steps. So that's what they call it, the land bank. They've banked those properties into their portfolio, and then they hold them, and then they try to sell them on the market. So you can, I think there's almost like a little bit of a bidding process, and that's where I can defer. But in terms of getting there, whether it's you buying at a tax sale or land bank, the process is still the same. It's just that the county owns it at the time it's with the land bank.
Mm-hmm. And it's because nobody bought it at the actual tax sale, and it kind of goes to the county or the city, right?
And it moves over.
Well, it's county only. City only is, it's the.
This county
the county only has the authority to take the property. The city is just a municipality of which they can tax, but.
But the county's the one that takes it.
All this technical stuff that Will's got. I mean, just go
go
buy it.
all this right and wrong stuff, right way and wrong way to do stuff.
When you're on the air, I'm trying to get it right.
Yeah, that's right. Disclaimer.
Yeah, that's right.
I think the biggest downside to me for land bank has always been, the number one, it's been picked over.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted it at the tax sale.
Yep.
Which is good and bad, right? Because tax sales, people will drive the price up because if it's a good property.
Sure.
There might be a reason why there's too much hair on it when it, at the tax sale, whatever, got to the land bank. I don't know what I've typically seen it's about a year later when it shows up kind of for sale at the land bank. I don't know if that's a procedural, I'm sure they got to go through steps.
Probably part of the bureaucracy.
Of it. So say it's a year later, we probably should look at that, for the next show, probably what that time frame is. But so then that house has been sitting literally for a year. To your point, Dean, like most of those are going to be vacant. Mm-hmm. And nobody bid on them at tax sale. Because at tax sale, like at least for me, I always looked at I wanted an occupied house.
Sure.
Because you knew it was at least livable.
Decent.
Which it's kind of funny because our first tax sale was a nightmare with a hoarder and dead dogs and everything else. But, but the land bank, it's been vacant because it's been passed over. And then you're going to have wiring, plumbing, HVAC, usually a roof. I mean, I tell everybody when they talk about land bank, I said, start at $15,000. Like as far as our rehab.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What are the condition of these? Are they worse than the tax sale properties?
Oh, absolutely.
They are
by nature, yeah. I mean, you're going to find a diamond in the rough every once in a while, but they're going to be picked over and they're going to be stripped because they've been sitting so long. The longer a house sits in Memphis,
Yeah, so you're looking at a shell, really.
You're looking at a shell, which can be a good or bad. I mean, we've got several that we did, and it's now we don't have any maintenance issues.
Some of my investors love it.
Yeah, because it's all brand new.
If we buy a house that we need to be all in for $40,000 and they buy it for $5,000 and we put $30,000 in it, well, gosh, it's almost a brand new home.
Yeah, I mean, we've bought lots for $2,000. I mean, that kind of stuff. So there's all kinds of little things you can. I mean, I talked to a guy at church on Sunday that bought some land. That he sat on it for 8 years, and now he's selling it for $50,000 profit.
Just sat on it.
Sat on it.
That's what I think.
So cheap.
I think a lot of people do that. That if you're not necessarily just the homes, but some people who have that cash invest into these tax sale properties, but they'll do vacant land.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody inherited 100 acres, and then the taxes aren't paid, goes into a tax sale, and there's no maintenance on vacant land because you don't have to put money into it. But those people are usually looking at it from like a long term, not like a rental portfolio kind of.
What is? I got a question for Will, and I'm gonna put you on the spot if you don't have it. What can you get reimbursed for during that period that you bought it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's certain things, and I think it's like around security or keeping it habitable. I don't know.
So the old statute, I think, had a level of subjectivity. Kind of like equitably, you'd go into court and say, well, here's what I've done, and I'm seeking reimbursement for that. Well, the new statute puts some specifics on that, and basically there's a list of things that you can get reimbursed for. So I'll kind of go through without being too long-winded, but one of them would be if you ended up continuing paying the taxes yourself over a period of time after you redeemed it. One of those reimbursements is for insurance. Another would be to avoid permissive waste. So like if securing the property, that type of thing. And then it also says expenses associated with the judicial administrative order. So let's say that the grass was, 5 feet high.
Keep code off of
and
you.
then code's penalizing you for that. You incurred those expenses to either to pay those or keep it cut. So it also says homeowners association dues. So if you buy a property that's within a homeowners association and you're paying that, you can be reimbursed for it. So
but like painting and stuff like that, I don't think you want to paint.
Yeah, no, I think you're right because you're not really securing the safety of the property.
Right.
So you want to be careful about that.
Yeah,
that's a loss. Sounds like if it comes back on you, gets redeemed.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm in the studio live today with Will Griffin of Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Maschmeyer. I've got Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty in the studio. We're talking about tax sales and land bank sales. We're going to take a real short break, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to give you our trivia question as soon as we come back for your chance to win a $100 Visa gift card today. So pay attention for that. As soon as we come back, we got a few other topics on tax sales and land bank sales we're going to hit after this real short break. Guys, you're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on 107.9 The Voice.
KWAM, streaming live at KWAMTheVoice.com.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
Investors or buyers, if you're looking for the best customer service and most competitive rates on a home loan, come to Brighton Bank. They offer a quick approval process, fast closing, and they even finance 85% of purchase price in most cases. At Brighton Bank, they work with every kind of loan, VA, FHA, USDA programs, traditional conventional financing programs, long-term fixed financial, and bridge loans made easy. When it comes to home loans, they mean business. Call them today, 901-758-1740. That's Brighton Bank at 901-758-1740.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Maschmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Mostly cloudy and mild with just a slight chance for showers this morning. Winds will continue from the northeast and high temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Cloudy, upper 60s overnight. We're back into the mid-80s under the clouds for Wednesday and Thursday. Smith Imports has more than 125 pre-owned Mercedes, all with remaining factory warranty. Sales, service, great financing rates, low prices, high quality since 1985. Visit smithimports.com. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers. On The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
KWAM, streaming live at kwamthevoice.com.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. I'm your host, Dean Harris. I'm with CrestCore Realty. I'm happy to be here today. I love talking about tax sales and land bank sales. These are great ways to obtain some rental properties. There's a process that goes along with this, but it's the reward for this is extremely high, once you go through this. So it is a process. And we're about to dive into that and some of the title insurance. First, I want to give our trivia question out. It's for a free $100 Visa gift card. We're going to award this to the winner after the show who answers this question on the Facebook page. So we talked a little bit in the first segment about the process, the redemption period for these tax sales. Our trivia question is, what is the rate of return for a tax sale property if it is redeemed? We gave out that rate here in the first segment. So you can pop onto the Facebook page, The Memphis Real Estate Hour, and you can check out the show live and answer the question in the comment section. The first person to answer it correctly, I will comment on there and get your information and get you a free Visa card. So the question again, what is the rate of return for a tax sale property if it is redeemed? So pop onto the Facebook page, answer that question in the comment section, and I will reach out to you after the show. All right, title insurance on a tax sale. A lot of times when I'm working with clients, buyers, title insurance on some of these properties, whether it's from tax sale, land bank sale, or wherever I get it from, can be an issue. Mm-hmm. I've got one wholesaler specifically that I know that deals with a lot with tax sales, and just about half of his have an issue closing because he got them at the tax sale and either didn't obtain it properly or cure the title properly, or however he messes it up. But oftentimes I get tax sales that are unable to close. Will, tell me a little bit about title insurance on a tax sale. Is it easy to obtain once you have it? How strong is it? Talk a little bit with me about title insurance.
So basically, we've talked about how there's a lot of upsides to tax sales. Return on investment, getting property for less, those are all great things. The downside to it is the marketability of that property, selling it to someone else down the road. So if you get it, fix it up, and lease it for 10 plus years, then you don't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to turn that property or sell it to someone else, that's when you have, to some extent, a marketability issue. The reason why there is a marketability issue is when the tax sale process goes through, the county is required to give notice to anyone who has interest in the property. Mm-hmm. So let's just say that I had not paid my income tax, IRS lien, hadn't paid my credit cards. I've got judgments against me from Capital One. I have a mortgage with Wells Fargo, and then I quit paying my property taxes.
You got some stuff to clean up.
It's a lot. It's a mess.
It's a mess.
So the county's required to give notice to all of those people, and those people have the opportunity to come and show up and bid on the property. So, and the way that they do that is, if y'all have ever seen a certified letter, mm-hmm. when it comes, it has a little green card, and you have to sign for it. Yeah. So that's the process. But if a green card gets sent out to Wells Fargo and gets lost in the mail, and they didn't sign for it, then they could say, wait a minute, we didn't get notice. And so title insurance companies are very weary of that. And so they're like, we don't want to insure it, the day after you buy it. So they have a pretty long process. Number one, in the past, they've said we won't touch it for 10 years.
Good Lord.
So you'd have to sit on it for 10 years before they'd even consider it. Number two, there was a title company, nationally known title company. I don't think it hurts for me to give the name out. It's First American Title out of California. They had a subsidiary that did a lot of the research for these tax sales, and I think they did them nationwide. And they would charge you pretty hefty to do all this research to find the green cards and get a comfort level, and then they would give you what they call a tax sale certificate, and then the title company would insure it. So it was kind of like pay more and then you could get it. And we did that for a number of years, but then that subsidiary, they kind of stepped out of it. Now, I don't know if it was just, wasn't worth the risk.
It burned.
I don't know if it burned. I mean, First American Title is a very large publicly held company. Sometimes they say, risk exceeds the return. But they pulled out of that. So right now, it's very difficult to get the properties insured. Locally, there's another title company here in town who does a lot of the work for Shelby County when they're doing all those searches, and they say, we'll consider it, but you've got to do all the legwork and provide us proof that all those green cards were issued to the proper people before we'll consider it. And I've actually accomplished one or two that way, but it is time-consuming, and obviously when things are time-consuming, they can become more expensive. So it's doable, but I would say this kind of gets into a little bit of the downside of the tax sale, depending upon what you're trying to accomplish when you're buying one of these properties.
And I assume it's just as important to have title insurance on a tax sale as it is any other investment.
It would be. A lot of people are skeptical about title insurance. Like, I don't think that covers anything. But if you're going to go to a bank to get a loan against the property to rehab it, they're going to say, we got to have title insurance. So I know, for example, I think Dan had one we touched on maybe a couple months ago where you had a portfolio of 10 or 12 properties and you were refinancing that, and the bank said, okay, and then it turns out that one of those was a tax sale. We could not insure that tax sale property for the lender, but they said, we're fine because we got 10 or 12 of the properties.
That's right.
So if you went
they
to
excluded it from
they said, well, we'll still take it, but we're not going to, But so if you went to a bank and said, I've got one property that's a tax sale, will you take a mortgage against it? And they said, well, can you get title insurance? Well, no.
Right.
Well, sorry, we can't give you the loan.
That's right. What about quiet title?
I apologize, because that is the other process.
Yeah, that's the way I like to do it. But.
So that is definitely the way that the title company will insure the title, because you go into court, file an action, and then the court then is giving notice to all other parties, and they're allowed the opportunity to show up to question or fight the quiet title. But if they don't, it runs its course. The court gives an order, and then typically the title company will rely upon that. So so other than the 10 years, that's another way that they can do that.
But is that just a kind of like the foreclosure where you're just putting it in the daily news and broadcasting it out? You're not having to do that green card certified mail thing, right? You're just making public
that's already been done. But yeah, it's kind of like it's another layer of using the court system to do that.
And the judge is basically saying, we've made notice. All the heirs come forward if you want to, or lien holders. And then if nobody shows up and disputes it, then quiet title's ordered, and that's kind of the deed now, is a quiet title deed, right?
And so have you done one of those before?
I have, yeah.
So tell them a little bit more about how long did that take, and what's kind of the expense associated with that. I don't do litigation. Usually I refer that out.
Oh, come on now.
This is what I was about to ask, is give me an example. Beginning of the process to the very end.
And do the quiet title at the end.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, do the quiet one at the very end.
Yeah, so if you start from finish, you go to the tax sale or online, you bid on it, say you won, and obviously some houses are going to go for right at what the taxes owed is, and some are going to go several thousand above. We've bought several that, I have one on in Berkeley, 38122. We bought for $12,000 10 years ago, and to Will's point, we never financed it, so we've been sitting on it for 10 or so years. So we haven't had to have title insurance, but bought it for $12,000. and it kind of goes two different directions. If it's a renter, if you really understand that it's a renter versus the homeowner, you'll go and you can start collecting rent, and so there's some different theories. Dougson always had the theory of kind of leaving well enough alone. If it's a homeowner, we definitely left him alone. We just let him stay there, didn't bother him for a year, just checked on the house once a month.
You don't want to wake up a sleeping giant.
Wake up a sleeping giant. Like you want that house. So the more you stir them up, the more they're going to be anxious to try to figure out a solution. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
From a renting standpoint, we would go try to collect the rent because you're entitled to that rent as soon as you buy that house.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah. So because you technically own the house. Now, as soon as he redeems, it flips right back to that previous, to the owner that had it before the tax sale.
Have you had any trouble getting tenants to pay that? I mean, do they?
No, but you need to show up with your paperwork showing, hey, I am now the new owner. You don't just go, hey, I'm an owner.
You're going to send me the check now.
Send me the check. That doesn't work too well. Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
But, did you?
Yeah, just
they want to see.
It's like could be a scam or something. So you get that going, and then what, from a rental standpoint, you just kind of monitor it that way. Just collect the rent, make sure the tenant's taken care of, and because you're getting money in, say $700 a month. You don't mind fixing a little issue here, a plumbing leak or electrical leak, because you got the money to, to fix it. If it's a homeowner, I would suggest doing the minimal. Just make sure the house is secure. Just check on it, make sure this car's still there, they're living there, and then
signs of life.
Signs of life. So, our very first tax sale, that's what we did every month. Is actually near White Station Elementary, and bought it. A year later, knocked on the door. She wanted to rent from us for 2 months. So I said, okay, but we want to fix your roof. The roof, you could see actually plywood.
Yeah.
I wish I'd fixed it the year before, but anyway, so we started fixing it day 2 after the redemption period. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, the lady fell and got stuck in the house, and she was a hoarder. 3 30-yard dumpsters of trash. So we went from this is going to be an awesome investment to, oh my gosh, we got to spend over $20,000 to get this house
clean
back, because the floors were sopping wet. The living room the joists were gone because trash had been piling up for years and years. Oh. But at the end of the day, because that's where the tax sale thing plays out. Like, we bought it at such a good price, just for what the taxes were owed, and maybe a little bit more, that we still end up $30,000 in a house near White Station Elementary White Station Middle. For $900 rent. So
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah,
those numbers are incredible.
And so in that example, we have to go after quiet title to go back to what Will was talking about. Mm-hmm. And so that took probably at least 3 months, for them to go to the judge, get it published in the Daily News. Maybe it's probably
there's several different
ones.
Legal newspapers, the Business Journal, Daily News, that type of thing.
And they require you to post in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's there's a statute specifically about quiet title, which, again, lays out kind of similar to that, says what you have to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I think that was at least 3 months. And by the time we paid the attorney and paid the publication and all that stuff, it was a little over $2,000.
We could spend a whole show on that hoarder, though. Man, I'd love to ask you a bunch of questions about that. Find out what you found in there. Like a treasure box.
It was rough. A couple of dead dogs, some rats that got stuck in the middle of the trash. It was
man. We could talk a whole hour about that nonsense.
But you know what? When we did it, we're like, if we can get through this, we can get through anything.
Yeah, I guess.
That was.
Let me ask you this: I'm live in the studio with Dan Butler and Will Griffin. We're talking about tax sales and land bank sales. How? And this question for both you guys: how can I mitigate some of my risks? I mean, because if we've gone through these steps and scenarios, and it sounds like there's a lot of risk on the purchaser's end, but it also sounds like if you can get through this, kind of like you just described, that the end result is great. How can I mitigate the risk or some of the risks going through this that are obvious to you? Is there anything that just pops out?
Well, securing the house, make sure you have access. I mean, if looking back on it, I'd probably get more access inside the house early on, so you kind of know what you're getting into. I guess that's a question I was going to ask Will, and I hadn't thought about this, but that homeowner, specifically that first one we did, could we have actually evicted her?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because you're now the owner, right?
But is she under lease?
No, she's not leased. She's actually she lived for free for a year.
Well, she could be a tenant in possession without a lease, but what you become is just a month-to-month tenant. So if you have to quote pay to stay. So if you're not paying, then you could have them removed. That's a good question. I mean, you have ownership.
That's right.
But you're talking about within the redemption period.
Within the redemption period, yeah. I think you can evict them.
It seems like if you can collect rent, you could evict them too.
I think so.
I mean, it would get sticky. I mean, the judge should be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I think.
I haven't heard anybody doing that.
Yeah. I mean, and if I go back to the redemption piece of it, if I'm that owner and I'm redeeming, I could say, well, why'd you kick them out?
Right.
But then again, you could say, well, they weren't paying. Then that comes back to the statute of you trying to quote secure the property.
Right.
Because if somebody's damaging it,
right.
To way to protect the property is to get them out. So I think that
in
that
my
argument,
case, when the hoarding, I mean, it was just the every day that she was in there that whole year, she just made it worse.
I'm clearly not a lawyer, but if I'm arguing with someone about it, if I'm able to collect rent, it seems like I'd able to evict them as well. I mean, you would think, I don't know, but I mean,
I think so. That seems like what I call an equitable argument. And again, I'm thinking about the new statute. It probably wasn't very clear in the old statute. I think there was a lot of ambiguity, and it was a matter of you trying to kind of state your case. If you were trying to justify that, in a redemption period where someone was trying to, I mean, this is all a what if you're not getting the property and someone's redeeming it because they're like, well, why'd you do that? That comes up. But in your case, there was no redemption, so you did the right thing. You secured the property.
Right.
And if you hadn't, it could have been far worse 1 year later.
Right.
Let's talk about some successes. We got a few more minutes here in the show, and
Sure.
a lot of this seems like doom and gloom. I mean, like there's a lot of negativity that we've talked about that goes around this. What's some of the positives? I mean, to me, the first thing I think of is a cheap house. But
that's right.
Talk about some of Dan. I know you've bought some of these, but talk about some of your success stories, examples of if you have any of some tax sales or land bank sales that have gone really well for you.
Well, I think. My first two were rough. One was the hoarder. The second one was actually got busted for meth like the week of the redemption.
You
was
did,
over.
or the tenant did?
I didn't. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Appreciate
tenant
that
got
clarification. It was not me.
The tenant.
That was the tenant.
Okay.
So it was $8,000 expense, but we bought the house for $15,000 in Berkeley. So $8,000 for that plus another $5,000 to fix it up. So you're still in a good spot, thankfully. So that's one of the advantages that tax sale. It starts out. Hopefully, I know it's gotten worse with the as far as the numbers with the international community now bidding on these, but there's still some diamonds in the rough that you can have enough money in there to cover that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've got two examples. Another one was in Berkeley. We bought for $12,000, $750 rent. She's been in there since I don't know 2008.
Oh, so you got it for 12. There's no other money.
There was no other money.
Gee whiz.
I haven't been in the house.
How long have you had it?
I think 2008 and 2009, something like that.
So you're coming up on your 10th year. You can now probably sell that on the
title insurance, yeah,
on the market.
That's right. So that was to me that's a good success. Spend $12,000 and get $750 rent for the last 10 years. And then another one in Whitehaven we bought, and that was an interesting one, Will, from a legal standpoint, because we bought it, I think for $30,000. It used to be worth $200 back in the day, which it's a 3,000 square foot house in Whitehaven, so it might be worth 150, 100, something like that.
Yeah.
But the bank actually sued the county for saying they did not get notice, which was interesting. It went all the way to the state Supreme Court. Luckily, I wasn't part of the suit. They were just suing the county, and it kind of stalled us from kind of true redemption.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah. So it went to the state Supreme Court, and basically the judge, they were able to show, the county was able to show, I think it was it was a national bank. They just took it to a local branch, and the point the judge made is like, it's y'all's fault y'all didn't send it to the right person in your property tax department or whatever, your mortgage department that handles this kind of issue. So they gave somebody signed for it, went to the right bank. They just which was the bank on record, the address on the record with the deed or whatever. And so the judge ruled in favor of the county, so then we got the house. And so I don't know if we have title insurance on that one or not. I'll have to check.
Yeah, that's interesting. So if you think about that process, let's say that a title company insured you on that.
They did after.
Think about the amount of money that they would have been responsible for
if it had gone wrong,
all the way to the state Supreme Court.
Yep.
And I actually had a conversation with the title company the other day about one that I'm actually beginning to work on, and they even made a comment to me in an email that, for organizations, it must be a person with the authority to sign. A bank teller probably does not have authority to sign for a bank, but a bank VP does.
Or a branch manager, I would think.
But in what you're saying in that case was, if it was a bank teller that's came in and whoever delivers the mail comes in, you sign for it.
Jeez.
And then, so that, but you can see when you're dealing with these large organizations,
how that gets sticky and how it could. I mean, it could have gone the other way. He could have said that wasn't proper notice, but I'm glad he ruled in the favor. But I was stuck that $35,000 in flux. We couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? We couldn't move the house forward in any sort of way because we had to wait for this, and it took probably a year past the whole redemption. You know what I'm saying? Like it got hung up for probably 2 years.
And how long ago was that?
That was probably, 08, something like that. It's been a while.
How many of these do you see? We got about 2 minutes. How many of these do you see in your office? Like tax sales that come in and close? Is there?
I don't personally do a lot of them, but like you said, with investors and this influx of the county now doing this online, I think it's something that needs to be dealt with. The answer may be no to a lot of them, but the answer can be yes to some. And the more you get them back on the market, from a standpoint of being marketable, the better. And I think that's what David Lenore is trying to accomplish with, pushing all this, trying to streamline it. So it makes sense. It helps out the city for the most part.
Yeah. We'll give out your office phone number. Guys, if you've got questions regarding tax sales, land bank sales, you need a closing attorney, you need anything legal, advice, whatever it may be, we'll give out your information, Will, so they can contact you.
So our firm name is Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Maschmeyer. We've collectively, between 6 or 7 lawyers, been doing real estate for over 50 years in the Memphis area. Our office number is 752-1133, and then our website is www.gcemlaw.com.
Will, I appreciate you coming on the show today. Always great information. We love having you in. Guys, if you've got more questions about tax sales, land bank sales, you can comment on the Facebook live feed on the Memphis Real Estate Hours Facebook page. It looks like we do have a winner for our Visa gift card. I'll contact you guys after the show on the page and get your information for it. So I appreciate everybody listening today. We gave out 3 great investment properties at the beginning of the show, so you can rewind and check those addresses and rental figures. Dan, thanks for coming on the show again today. Will, I really appreciate it again.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you guys next week. We're going to be on the same time, 8 to 9 every Tuesday. We'll have more free money, and we're going to do another gift card next week as well.
Absolutely.
So you guys stay tuned. Appreciate you listening to the show today. We will see you next Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. You call it the Memphis Real Estate Hour on the new Voice FM 107.9.